Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me as I make these lactation cookies. You will need about 2 of these cookies a day to go ahead and see that boost in your milk supplies. And join me at the end of the video while I go ahead and explain to you how you can go ahead and freeze them as well. This is just all the ingredients you are going to need, and you are going to start by preheating your oven to 350 degrees. Second thing you want to go ahead and end up doing after preheating is making sure you mix your water with your flaxseed. So this is 2 tablespoons of flaxseed with 4 tablespoons of water, and you just want to go ahead and mix that very well and set it aside and let it sit for about 5 minutes. So here you will see me using 2 different types of flour. The first one was the all-purpose white flour, and the second one is whole wheat flour. Here I am adding some baking soda, and I ended up adding a teaspoon and a half, and I'm also going to add a teaspoon and a half of the salt and 2 teaspoons of the vanilla. Now, but there I just ended up putting the vanilla and I kind of mixed it in with that's the coconut oil and the butter that's melted right there. And right here I'm just adding the 4 tablespoons of brewer's yeast. Now this is the magic ingredient to the cookies, so you do not want to substitute the brewer's yeast for anything else. Okay, you can go ahead and mix and match with the sugars and the flours and all that, but you can't skip the brewer's yeast. Okay, here I'm just gonna go ahead and put in all these ingredients and make sure I end up putting them through the just to make sure I remove all the clumps from there. You're gonna see me scoop it out again because later on I'm gonna go ahead and be doing a mixture of wet and dry, and next I'm just gonna be gathering up all the rest of my wet ingredients. So I end up using half a stick of butter, which is half a cup of butter and half a cup of coconut oil, and I just go ahead and stick it in the microwave for a couple of seconds until it's melted, and that's what I have. So you can end up using like a whole cup of butter or a whole cup of coconut oil. Like I said, I do kind of play around with this recipe, so this is what works best for me. And I'm just adding the 2 eggs in there, and I'm gonna go ahead and mix that up real well. So now it's time for us to go ahead and mix our flour in and all the rest of the ingredients. So we're going to get the 1.5 cups of brown sugar, and we're going to get the wet ingredients, and like I said before, make sure you end up doing them slowly. Don't pour it all in at the same time. Make sure you end up blending it very well, getting the bottom of the bowl and everything. Next, make sure that if your bowl looks like that, like mine did, make sure you do scrape it with something and just make sure you combine it really well. And we are moving on with the 3 cups of old-fashioned oats. You want to use the old-fashioned oatmeal, not the instant made, the 1-minute ready one. This will go ahead and keep you satisfied longer whenever you do end up eating the cookies, and it just works better for that boost that you end up needing for the milk supply. Now I'm using more than a cup of the chocolate chip. I'm using white chocolate, semi-sweet chocolate, and the regular milk chocolate here. So, and you can also end up throwing like walnuts and different types of nuts in here, or coconut shreds and everything. So now these, like I did mention before, you do need about 2 cookies, at least 2 cookies a day for that boost in your milk supply. And don't worry if your kids or your husband ends up grabbing some of the cookies. It's safe for them to go ahead and end up eating. It's probably better for them to eat one of these than like any other store-bought cookies. So don't be afraid to share, even though you may not want to. So yeah, and this batter does end up making about 50 large cookies. I pretty much always get anywhere from 45 to 50 cookies with this, and they're quite big. as you will end up seeing very shortly. And they do bake for about 10 to 12 minutes. And after they're done cooling, I just separate them out into piles of 10 and I just stick them in a Ziploc bag and dump them in the freezer, and I just keep one bag out, and every like 2 or 3 days I just keep pulling from that depending on how fast I'm going through the cookies, of course. And just make sure you do drink plenty of water with them, and they should end up helping you out. Now for baking, make sure you do end up lining it up with parchment paper, and make sure you give it enough space, especially like right now I'm using a pretty big scoop right there. That's a tablespoon, but I overfill it. So it does make huge cookies. So make sure you do separate them from one another. And since these are so big, these are the ones that I talk about that you can eat up to 2. Now, if you make them smaller, you could probably get away with eating 4. But of course, everybody's body is different. So, but there you have it. I am just going to be finishing up with the placement of the cookies. And then I'm going to show you how it looks like. I think I'm going to show you a clip of more cookies in a rack. There you go. And they come out pretty big, as you can see. So they come out like as big as my hands. They're really soft and chewy. Go ahead and leave me a comment down below or follow me on Instagram and tag me on there. And just let me know what you think about them. If you have any questions or concerns, just go ahead and let me know in the comments down below and give my video a thumbs up. And please subscribe. Let me know what you would like to see next. Thank you.